Hey gamers, today we're going to review the Colonist. Let's check it out. Look at all this stuff. Okay, where do we start? I don't know if the game comes in these trays. My version did, but if you don't have these, get these trays. These are awesome. Kind of just puts all the houses and goods all in different trays. Really helps you out when figuring out the game and probably saves you some table space as well. What you're going to do is each player is going to get a player board. They're going to start with 6 tools. Tools come in 1s or 3s like this. They're going to start with 3 wood that you put over these little areas here. They're also going to start with 1 food item here in their warehouse here. They're also going to have one of these generic player pawns they're going to put anywhere on the board. The board is set up differently. The rules do give you a place to you put it up in your first game. This is how you could set it up, and this is how I do suggest you set up your first game. After that, you do want to kind of mix it up a few other ways if you want to change up especially for error 1, change it up a little bit. You do have your little round tracker here. Everyone's going to get 3 turns or 3 movements, and then it's going to go to winter, and then it's going to be a whole new year, and they're going to keep going down until they go through 5 years and then reach the 2nd era and the 3rd era and the 4th era if you like a long game. This can be a long game, but you can stop after any era that all the players decide. Now there is these little market tiles, these little cards, you'll flip one over every year here, and it will give you different actions that you can do. You can do one of these actions, sell some goods for money. You can collect some goods, or it says, hey, you can build something. And all of these are different. They're just different cards. And there's more cards than there are errors in the game, so you won't go through the entire deck. And this is the market area right here. Players will start out here, and then they'll be taking turns moving across the area, moving 3 spaces on the area wherever they want to go, and taking the actions as you see here. So let's say on a turn you can just move anywhere you want and do any actions you want. I could move here and I could get 1 coin and 2 of these cards. These cards can help you out in the game. They're either going to give you, one-time benefits or places where you can build an actual building. Sometimes it's a permanent building on the card. Sometimes it is just some extra goods you can get for one time only. Now to play these, there's another, and all these emblems are self-explanatory. I could go here, collect 2 tools, and play one of my cards. If I have to build something, I would spend the necessary resources to build it, or you just receive those resources. Now again, you cannot receive resources more than what you have storage room for. So it's a good deal to build some storage sheds up front on your building, because right now you start with 3. Now you can always, if I'm getting more stuff and I'm full, I can always replace that with more things. For instance, like maybe I got some clay right here and I don't have room for it. I can just boot out some of the wood and leave the clay there, and then take this back to the supply area. One thing it is about stuff in your warehouse, and you can build up your warehouse too. Warehouse goods cannot be spent on certain things, like building things. They're just here to extra hold. And then when you have space in between your moves, you can move things out and into your warehouse. But only when they're out here in the storage places is where you can spend them. Again, warehouses just hold extra goods. So other places that you can go on the board give you certain resources. Sometimes it gives you 2 wood, 2 clay, or it lets you turn those resources into a higher product, like bricks, or in this case, planks of wood. And then there are other tiles that let you build certain things, for 3 tools, 2 wood, 1 clay. I can build a hunter's lodge. If you look down here, you'll pick the hunter's lodge from one of these tiles over here. It basically just tells you right here, hey, this one gives you 1 food and one has that little circle there, every year. So for instance, as a year passes by, as long as I have a worker on that space, I will get 1 food. So here's a close-up of the hunting lodge. As you see, if you can get 1 food there every year there, as long as you have a green farmer on here. I forgot to mention, you do get little farmers. You get 2 farms. Each player starts with 2 farms and these little farmers. There are other workers in the game, yellow and red, who can really start helping you, but you really have to play more errors to get into yellow and red. Second error will introduce yellow. I believe it's the third error introduces red players, which are actually going to be worth more points at the end of the game, the more you have of them. But whatever color is shown down here, that is the color that you must use to man it. So if I bought this, or I built it, I could place one of them in from the farm and place them here to activate that tile. Now that tile is active. I can also score in-game victory points, which is money. So this is going to net me 3 points at the end of the game as long as I have someone on it. If I don't have someone on it, then oh well, I can't count points for it. Now with the storage rooms like this, just to give you an example, there are storage rooms you can build and storage upgrades here, storage houses. On a storage shed, as you see, you need a green person there. So if I had upgraded that, I could go here and got to man it, and now I have 2 open spaces. I don't have that if I don't have a farmer there. You can build it, but you can't use it until you have someone working there. Same thing with this one. When I upgrade, I need a yellow worker. So eventually, and there'll be tiles that give you yellow workers too, but then you have to play a yellow worker here. And how it works on the board, and it tells you right here, at the end of every year, for your green workers, you don't have to give them anything, they're fine. But for yellow workers, you have to pay 1 food for each yellow worker. And if you have a red worker, you got to pay 2 food and 1 cloth. Now by then, you should really be working it on this map here and how you're building your own colony. Other places on the board you can go to. This one gives you 1 clay and the first player token. The first player token is kind of unique because not only do you get to go first, but you get to choose where the next 3 tiles will be laid out. See, at the end of every year, you're placing out 3 more additional tiles. The first tiles that you see here all have this 0 over it. They're just beginner tiles. And so you'll lay those out in any way you want. But after that, you're taking the ones with the Roman numeral 1 on it. And then when you run through that stack, that error's over, you'll start with the 2 stack and so on and so forth. But before every year starts, you're throwing out these 3 tiles. You're showing everyone, hey, these are the 3 that are coming out next year. Whoever's first player can place them wherever they want. You kind of want to place them strategically so that they'll work out. So for instance, hey, 1 plank and 1 tool gives me 1 flat. A flat is a yellow guy. It's kind of like a farmer, but if I have a flat, then I can put one of my yellow workers on here and he could be even better to help me build and work even better buildings. So maybe what I want to do is put this wood next to the guy who converts wood into planks, and then put this right next to that one, so I can have a combo there of if I start here, I go 1, 2, 3. Remember, you can take 3 actions. This is worker placement, but a little bit of worker movement too, because you're taking actions wherever you go. Now, yes, you can go on a space and choose not to take the action, but that's kind of wasting your turns, and as you see, your turns are limited. The only thing when it comes to the board here is that I will say you can teleport to the market areas whenever you want. So as a turn, I could go 1, 2, and then 3, teleport to a market area, okay? Maybe you got lost and just wanted to go to the market. Who knows how that works? But anyway, that's how that works. Now, one other thing, they have a few rules here. You may not start on the same tile as you ended. So for instance, if I was here and I went 1 and took an action here, 2 action here, 3, took the action here that I started on, I could not do that. I would have to start on a different one. The only time there's an exception to that rule is if you started in a market and you ended on a market. That would be the only exception to the rule. After that, other than that though, you may not start and stop on the same tile, end your turn on the same tile you began it on. One other thing is, if you do go to another person's tile and you're trying to take that action, you have to pay them either 1 food or 1 tool or 1 shirt. I'll tell you this every time, they're going to give you a tool. Tools, at least for the first 3 errors of the game, they're really not, I mean, you really get these every year. You get 3 tools every year and you start off with 6. So in my experience, you have plenty of tools in this game. It's not hard to get tools. So usually you'll just give that other player a tool and then take the action. Now, if you have, there are ways to get two of these pawns, two of the same color pawns on the board. And if you had two of the same color, let's say I had two oranges on the board, well, would I get to move each one 3 times? No, I would get to move them a total of 3 times. I could go 1 and then 2 and then maybe 3. However I wanted to move them, but both of them cannot be on the same tile ever. Now, again, I'll talk about a little bit about what that special power is that lets you do that. But actually, let me talk about it right now. Here it is, a diplomat. If you go to the diplomat, this is a very unique tile where you're going to lay out 4 of these little diplomat. And there's a lot in the game, and they all give you different special abilities in the game. And really, I'll be honest, they're all perfectly balanced. They're really awesome. And they all cost the same. So if you see the cost in the first era is 1 tool, 3 wood, and 2 clay. That's the same for all of these. And of course, the same thing for each era. You're going to have to pay the same amount of cost, but the reward you're going to get is a little different. This one gives you more resources. This one gives you more warehouses. This one gives you that extra player pawn I told you about. All of them do different things. This one lets you trade different items in for other items of the same value. Really awesome stuff. And you can have an embassy set up every time you become a diplomat. There are these embassy tokens. They're right over here, and you'll grab them. So for instance, let's say I was with the envoy embassy, then I'd take one of these because I paid the cost and I put it somewhere on the board. No one has to man it. It's an embassy. This just shows you, hey, I have the powers of a level 1. Well, later on, when it's era 2, you can go back to there again and do some more ambassador work or diplomatic work, and then flip this over, and now it's an envoy 2. Now you have the power of the second one as well. And of course, there are tiles for a 3 and a 4 for each embassy there. But this helps you go along without having to put anything on the track to figure out where you're at. You would just flip this over and say, okay, I'm as high as number 2 here. You can't go higher than the era allows. For instance, to get this or this, you have to play it to the 4th era, and so on and so forth. But that's really a cool little option in the game there. There are also ways to turn farms into estates here. There are ways to turn clay into bricks and everything. So for instance, this one, a farm can turn into an estate. And what you do is take one of your farms, you flip it over, and now it can hold up to 3 farmers. So you put it a little, I think about 2 extra. If you had, let's say I had one on there, I upgrade it to an estate. Well, now it can hold 3. So then I'm going to get 2 more farmers. That's kind of how you can do workers. And yes, you can do the same thing with yellow workers and red workers if you get that far along in the game. Now, the game keeps going until, and like I said, every year you'll get 3 tools and whatever benefits you got. So for instance, if I had the hunting lodge, I was also generate 1 food. Remember, you have to have enough warehouse storage space for that to hold everything. If not, you're just going to have to jettison some of those goods. You just can't spend them unless they're here. Remember, you can't spend any goods that are in the warehouse. Once that's over and you've completed all 5 years of that era, you can stop right there or go to the next one. The next one, you would just roll out the level 2 cards with the new market areas and the new special abilities that you can get at this spot where you can draw 2 cards. Depending on how many errors you want to go. Let's say at the full game, into 4 errors that probably take 4 hours. You will count up all the coin you have in your hand, and coin comes in values of 1, 5, and 25. You will count out all the building spaces you have here and how much coin that costs. Remember, these out here, they have to be occupied to get it. If I didn't have anyone there, I couldn't count it. I'd have to man it with a man for that to be counted. And whoever has the most coin at the end wins. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, let me tell you this. I hate heavy Euro games. And this is a heavy Euro game. Okay, really heavy. So you probably know what I'm going to say here. No, you're not. I love it. I'm shocked. No one is more shocked than me. Let me reiterate, I hate, despise, loathe heavy Euro games. But there was something about this game that kept pulling me toward it. I don't know what it was. And eventually I got it in a trade, and I was like, yeah, I just got to play this game. And it is great. It's awesome. Glad that I got in a trade. The other game I got in a trade, I gave that one away because it wasn't that good. This one is really good. It's really fun. I am kind of shocked. I remember the reason that I got it was someone, I think on Board Game Geek, called this Twilight Imperium and the Colony days. And I was like, well, hold on, you dropped the words Twilight Imperium on me. I have to try out this game. So that's what got my interest in it. I got it and I love it. Right now, as of this video, it is on Amazon for 40 bucks, which is an amazing deal. Usually this goes for 60 or higher. So for 40 bucks, really good deal. You get a lot of cardboard. I don't know if you get those trays. I don't think you do, but if I'm wrong, someone's going to correct me in the comments, but I don't think you get them. But either way, you can invest in those too. This is a great game. If you love heavy Euros, I think you're going to love this game. This game can go hours and hours. I mean, this is Twilight Imperium hours. It really is. But it's great too, because the game flows along, it moves along, and as we kept playing, we just really got excited. The different ambassadors that come out, because I played a few solo, and then I played a few with my friends. So I actually did play, especially the first era, a lot. And the envoys that you can go to make the game feel different. And how you play, your strategy can be different. We had way different strategies the first time me and my friends played. And I'll be honest, I had no idea who was going to win. I thought my buddy was going to win. He had a big pile of coins, and I didn't have as many, but I had a little bit more buildings than him. But I said, it's not going to beat all those coins. It did by 2. Now that's the cool thing, because building and upgrading these buildings is almost like hiding your victory points on the board. No one can look. I mean, sure, they can look at your board and count, but no one's going to do that. And so you still don't know at the end who's winning. And I kind of like that. I like that surprise at the end. And for someone who hates heavy Euro games, I'm shocked. I love the Colonists. So is it worth your time? Yeah, it's going to take up a lot of your time, but it's worth it. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until next time, you know what to do. Game on!